Good morning, everyone. I've got one word for you, level 2. Well, that actually may be 2 words, or is that a word and a number? Anyway, we're in level 2, which means I can come out to the forest out here at Riverhead in Auckland, and the even better news, I can meet up with the Dad's Army crew, and we're going to go for a ride. We're going from the Robinson Road entrance, and we're going to do a loop that you may not have done before, so come join us.
Okay, so under level 2, we're supposed to still keep our social distancing, so measured out the old 2 metres, made sure Brent wasn't too close, and then we were off for a ride. Now, we were leaving from the Robinson Road entrance. We're doing this because Kev lives up that way, and it's pretty much on the other side of the forest from Barlow Road. And Kev was going to take us on a different loop. One of the cool things about Riverhead, there are just so many tracks in there, and knowing where to go, it's just, you can go in there and just explore. It's pretty easy to get lost, but Kev knew this loop, and so yeah, we're going in from Robinson Road. Following Ben here. Now, Ben is Kev's son, so it shows you don't have to be an old guy to ride an e-bike. He bought one. In fact, he bought the giant Trans E 1 Pro, I think it is, and him and his dad go out most weeks for a ride together on their e-bikes, and they absolutely love it. Now, Ben was not a bad downhiller in his day, and he's pretty quick, so I was doing well to keep up with him downhill. What did surprise me a little bit was I really couldn't keep up with him uphill. Now, I was really puffing hard to try and stay with him as we went back up the trails. Now, I was trying to work this out. I was thinking, is it because he's putting in more effort than me? Is he fitter than me? Is his motor more powerful than mine? He's got the Yamaha motor in his. Or is it just simply the fact that he's 20 kilos lighter than me, and the power to weight ratio of the rider and the bike, he simply killed me going up the hills. But yeah, basically I had to, I just couldn't stay with him. I was puffing really hard. And I guess that is cool about an e-bike, is that it is still hard work. But when I got to the top, he was already waiting for me.
On that or something? Oh, I couldn't keep up the hill. I was pedaling hard.
Yeah.
If you guys have been watching my videos, you may have seen I've had a few sponsors in the last few videos, and today I've got another sponsor, and it's actually a product I've been using myself. 4 weeks ago, my hair looked like this, or lack of it. Sad and depressed I was. So I asked my wife, and she said, why don't you try Mega Hair Grow? So I put this stuff on, and within days my hair had started to grow, and 4 weeks from now, well, I look like this. If you want some Mega Hair Grow, click in the link below for a free sample and grow a mop like this. All right, anyway, back to the tracks.
Now, you may be thinking, wasn't Steve and Graham there at the start? Where are those guys? Why are they not riding with you? Because we're riding with Brent, Kev here, and Ben. It's kind of sad, really. I was really looking forward to catching up with everyone when we got to level 2. But when we all met up, we basically realised that, well, some of us had e-bikes and some of us didn't. And this was one of my concerns getting an e-bike, is would it split a group of riders? Would the e-bike riders not want to ride with non-e-bike riders? And that's pretty much what happened on this ride. We split and decided to just, with the 4 of us with e-bikes, to go off and do our own thing. So I was kind of sad. We were supposed to be having a Dad's Army reunion, and in the end we went off on an e-bike ride. So that might not impress some people, and it did upset me a little bit, but I was having so much fun that I must admit I forgot about them pretty quickly. I shouldn't really say that, should I?
Woo! I thought, why did he stop there?
One thing about e-bikes is they climb so well. Climbing is actually fun. Now, this is actually quite steep. The GoPro never shows you this. It's also really quite slippery. So your back wheel's spinning a bit, you're struggling to get up the hill, but on an e-bike, it is just so much fun. So you actually enjoy the climbs as well as the descents. And if the other guys had been with us, they would have walked up here, they would have been annoyed at the top, they would have been slipping around in their shoes, and we would have had to wait for them at the top. Whereas when we were riding the e-bikes, we pretty much just got to the top and then headed off back down a track, and we covered a huge distance in a relatively short period of time. Now, if I had to explain, I did make a video Idiot's Guide to Riverhead, which was basically a guided trip that you could take. If you watched the whole video, you could follow it and ride your way around the forest. This is not one of those videos. It does show you some of the different sorts of tracks that there are in the Riverhead forest, but you certainly can't use this video as much of a guide. In fact, to be honest, I'm a little bit lost at most of the time, and I think if I was to get left behind, I would probably have to struggle to find my way home immediately. This again is another really good climb up here. It's slippery, the weather's definitely changed. It's wetter than it has been over this long dry summer, and it makes it a challenge. But yeah, another good climb up here.
That was good.
Alright, they've done quite a bit of felling
nice
here.
moves,
In
Kev.
fact, at the moment, the forest, there is some felling going on. If you do go to the forest, follow any signs you see, and if you do see any forestry work going on, literally if you come up to it, I would just turn around and go back the other way. And one thing I try and do is basically stay off the forestry roads, because if there's big logging trucks on there, they don't like to see bikes riding on the road, so I pretty much stay within the tracks. And again, I know I go on about e-bikes, but one of the great things about the e-bikes is that you can ride through the forest, doesn't matter whether it's up or down, you can handle it, and so you really don't need to ride on the roads at all. This is a good fun track coming down here following Ben. He's a pretty quick rider downhill, and one of the things, if you know my riding, I love to chase people. It's one of those things that when you're riding on your own down a hill, you're always worried about your braking points. When should you brake? How hard should you brake? If you're following someone, you can just ignore all that and figure, well, they haven't come off or crashed, so I'll just keep doing exactly what they're doing. So I sort of turn my brain off and literally just follow, and if they haven't hit something, well, I figured I'm not going to hit it either. It doesn't always work. Now Riverhead, a lot of people only ride here during the summer months. It's been an epic summer in here in Auckland, although we've got the problem we've got no water, but it's certainly got slippery. You can see there Ben went for a bit of a skate out on the tree roots, and a lot of people won't come in here in winter because it turns into a giant bog fest. Lots of puddles, slippery, your bike looks like it's just covered in clay by the time you've been out for a ride, and a lot of people head back over to Woodhill during the winter months. But for those brave enough to go through a bit of bog, a lot of people will still ride here all through the winter, and I must admit I'll still ride here through the winter, although finding people to ride with gets harder and harder as everybody doesn't want to ride here, partly because it's harder and you fall over and all that sort of stuff, and partly because your bike needs so much more maintenance and cleaning when you're riding through slippery, wet bogs. It is used by the motorcyclists a lot because they dig huge great trenches which fill up with water, and the water stays there all the way until next summer. Doing cheese grater here, you've probably seen us riding this track before. It's a really good fun track, and I know I go on about the e-bikes, but one of the cool things is you can, when you get to the bottom, if you feel like doing it again, you can just go up and do it a second time. And on this loop we actually ended up doing this track twice. Now from here we legged it all the way back up, I think through Janis Joplin, which I think we're just starting here, and then we went all the way back up to the top again. And then we had a bit of a play on Ian's knob. Ben actually manages to get fast enough to get a bit of air off the top. I struggle with that, but I can get up there, and I think I have a little go just now.
Oh, she's up.
Certainly e-bikes, it's one of the things you enjoy doing, is trying to see what you can actually physically get up. This next track, it's the start of Black Label, but it goes into the new track that we made for the Enduro, and there's quite a nice little feature here of a tree route that you can jump across.
Nice.
Ben shows how it's done. Brent does it pretty well as well, and Kev, not sure what Kev's doing.
We're definitely putting that one in, Kev.
Yeah. I couldn't.
And we carry on down the track, pretty slippery in places. Now the Riverhead Enduro, obviously got cancelled because of COVID. There's still the plan is to have it later in the year. They're not going to do it in the middle of winter because I think it's just going to be too sketchy, but I think the plan is for maybe November. So really looking forward to that. These tracks just look so cool that were made for the Enduro. Vaughan did an amazing job with these, and yeah, really looking forward for a chance to actually race them. And from here we legged it all the way back up, I think Rebel Road and Corkscrew, and this was up near Communal. This is again one of the new tracks that was made for the Riverhead Enduro, and I honestly can't remember what it was called. I think it was given a name. There's some pretty cool tracks on this side here now. The downside, of course, is there's, if you've ridden here, you know there's a pretty mean climb back out of here. They're pretty fast, some of these tracks as well. You could certainly, if you were brave enough, pick up a fair amount of speed, I reckon. It's just how brave you want to be, you know, given that there's a mixture of traction. And that is one thing with Riverhead, the traction is not consistent. You can go from areas of really good traction to suddenly something that is just super skatey. We actually only rode for about 2 hours. I think Kev had some commitments, and so we decided to head back. But the distance we covered, the number of tracks, we're now just starting on Ritchie's, which is another cool track. I think we went up, well, obviously we went right back across the forest to get to this one, and yeah, another good track. But yeah, the distance we covered, the amount of riding we did in 2 hours was quite amazing. We just literally hardly stopped. We just kept on going. We were all just having so much fun. Steve and Graham, they must have had a pretty good ride as well, but when we got back they were still out in the forest. But there's no way they could have covered the same amount of distance that we did, even if they were out 3 or 4 hours. They simply would be just too tired, I would say. I'm hoping to get a chance to trial Ben's bike. As I say, he's got the giant Transy bike. Looks like quite a nice bike. It was one I didn't really consider because it's only got a 500 watt hour battery, but you can get a pretty good ride on a 500 watt hour battery. So, and it's a pretty good price bike. So I'm keen to. He said I could do a review of it. So might see if I can't do that. And yeah, watch out for that one. One thing about riding in Riverhead, and I think I come up to it here somewhere, is you're just flying along having a great time, and then suddenly you'll hit a massive wet patch at speed. And I was trying to keep up with Ben here and went straight into it.
Whoa!
Must be here. Yeah, right here. Just,
wow, that wasn't
just
pleasant.
muddle up your pants and shoes, and so yeah, that wasn't so pleasant. But it gets a lot worse when the winter comes. Alright, well that was the end of the video. Heading back to the car park now. Had an epic ride. If you enjoyed the video, love it if you subscribe, and thumbs up and all that sort of thing, and we'll look forward to seeing you guys on the next one.